Matt here with Fluid News at 6.
And I'm Kyle.
This week's story is a constitutional convention. Word is the convention was called to improve American government. The Articles of Confederation have been causing problems with our new nation. States haven't been respecting Congress. Things like trade and trust have been at risk because of the system of government hasn't been working. So the convention has been called, and the Anti-Federalists and the Federalists are attending. Federalists support the Constitution. They believe that this Constitution was perfect because we need a strong central government. Anti-Federalists want a Bill of Rights and the Constitution. There is a Bill of Rights in some states already. What's the problem with just adding it? I guess we'll find out later in today's segment. Now, the Federalists are stressing the weakness at the Articles. They argued that the many difficulties facing the Republic could be overcome only by the creation of a new government based on the Constitution. The Anti-Federalists attacked nearly every part of the document. Many object to the ratification process. Several worried that the presidency could become a monarchy and that the Congress would become too powerful.
So the convention was called because our new nation needed to improve its government. When we wanted independence from Britain, we came up with a government called the Articles of Confederation. On November 15, 1777, the Articles were approved. They were effective on March 1, 1781. Under this system of government, each state had one vote in Congress. Congress ran the government of the nation. The powers of Congress were things like making a money system, making war and peace, and several others. Each state agreed to follow the rules set by Congress and to support it with troops and funds. It sounds like a good government, but it did have its flaws. Congress couldn't tax, so debts from the war were great. Congress could only hope states would donate money, which they did not. Another flaw was that Congress couldn't regulate trade between states. Congress had authority, but the states would ignore it. After the war, tensions between the states grew, and the flaws of the Articles were clearly visible. After a poor turnout at a meeting pushed by Maryland and Virginia, a meeting in Philadelphia was called. This meeting, as we know it in the story today, is the Constitutional Convention. It has been called to address the problems with our nation's government.
Now we're going to go to Caitlin, our reporter, who has an interview with James Madison.
Thanks, Matt. And I'm here with James Madison. So, Mr. Madison, what exactly were some issues when writing the Constitution?
Well, one issue was that some people wanted the Bill of Rights and some did not. So it was a tough decision to decide what to do with the matter.
What exactly was your thought process when writing the Virginia Plan?
Well, I believe that the power should be divided up among three separate branches: the executive, the legislative, and the judicial. I also believe that the power of the states themselves should be divided up by the proportional population of those states.
Well, since you do live in Virginia, which, as you know, is a larger state, do you think that this proportional power deal could make the smaller states have less power?
Initially, that was a big issue with the smaller states. This is why they proposed a new deal called the New Jersey Plan.
And what exactly is the New Jersey Plan?
Primarily, it is just a response to the Virginia Plan. Under the New Jersey Plan, Congress had the additional powers of setting and controlling taxes. It also says federal laws were supreme over state laws. Basically, it's an attempt to give the small states equal representation in Congress to the larger states.
So with the dispute over the two plans, what exactly do you think will happen?
Well, we come to an agreement that would satisfy both parties. It's called the Connecticut Compromise, or also known as the Great Compromise. It blends together the Virginia and the New Jersey Plan as a whole. Basically, in the two houses of Congress, states will be represented equally in Senate and by population in the House of Representatives. In order to count total population in the South, every 3 of 5 slaves will count as a person. This is known as a 3/5 compromise, and it will prevent only unfair population votes towards Congress representatives.
Well, thank you for being with us here today, Mr. Madison.
My pleasure.
And now back to you, Kyle and Matt.
So Matt, how's this cat that you got? Her, it's like really fat and stuff.
I don't even have a cat, dude. I don't like cats.
Oh, dude, we're wrong. Thanks, Caitlin. And now we're going to go to our reporter, Malia, who's going to tell you more about this 3/5 compromise.
Thanks, Kyle. And now I'll talk more about the 3/5 compromise. The northern states disapproved this compromise, while the southern states approved. It had to do with representation in the House based on population. The southern states were concerned about their representation because a large portion of their population was slaves, while the northern population was mostly white. So the 3/5 compromise was that 3 out of every 5 slaves were counted toward the state's population. This settled disputes on the matter, and northern and southern states agreed to it. My personal opinion on this matter is that I think it is wrong for slaves to be counted this way and not treated like others. But I understand the problems with how states are represented by population, so overall I think this will be a good compromise for our government and will keep problems from arising. Back to Kyle and Matt in the studio. Thank you.
Thank you, Malia. And now, back to Valerie. with a lifestyle report. What's hot and what's not.
Philly News at 6 brought to you by Cashew Milk.
The milk made from cashews.
Thanks, Matt. And Valerie here, and I'm here to talk about the size today, what's hot and what's not. Wigs are far from the natural look for women, not natural wigs for men. That is not hot. But what was hot for men is powdered hair. Makes them look more sophisticated and look more manly chewing tobacco. Here's a spit cup. While the girls smell more woman-like with some perfume, and that's why women need to wear perfume, because taking weekly bath is not in. But drinking water is also not hot because it weakens physical strength. So drink more cider or tea. Back to the studio with Matt and Kyle.
I act like you're asleep. Is that what you're doing?
I don't know. Oh, hey. Thanks, Valerie. And now we're going to go to our reporter, Caitlin, who's following the story on the National Apple Bombing Contest. To you, Caitlin.
Thank you, Kyle, and I'm here with our two competitors. How are you feeling today, Matt?
You think I'm pumped? I'm more than pumped. I'm ready to box some apples.
And how are you feeling, Valerie?
I'm feeling great. I'm ready to pop some apples too.
And let's get this competition underway.
Oh, trash can.
On my mark, the first one to bob 3 apples wins.
I thought it was 4.
3.
Okay.
Changing rules.
1, 2, 3, go. Oh, they each have. Matt has 1. Matt has 2.
You're crowding me. I hate you.
Matt has 3. He is the winner.
And I'm here with the winner, Matt Manship. How are you feeling, Matt?
I'm wet.
That's great. And now back to you, Matt and Kyle, in the studio.
Well, what a great event, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for joining us at Philly News at 6 and our story following the Constitutional Convention. Stay sunny, Philadelphia. Stay sunny.